I gotta be clear, guys. You can come to Tanzania as a foreigner and do business, but there's just few certain jobs you cannot do.
This is the journey to One Africa.
Hey family, welcome back to Swahili Nation, and subscribe, turn on the notification button, but also feel free to follow us on Instagram, Swahili Nation Network. We share news all the time, so stay in touch and get to know what is happening in Africa. I'm back, guys, to share a little bit of a news that I shared with you yesterday. If you haven't seen a video about Tanzania burning foreigners, small businesses here in Tanzania, please check it out. The video is right there. But today, this is coming as a response to that news. Okay, this has been a great and big news in Africa, and specifically in Eastern Africa, because you know, guys, one of the community that is very strong in Africa is EAC, East African Community, whereby Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda are the founding members of this community. But now they have Burundi, Rwanda, DR Congo, they have Somalia as well, and South Sudan together in EAC. So there's been a lot of different reactions coming from these Tanzanian bands. All right, okay. The reason why Tanzania has done this, they stated it is because they want to protect local entrepreneurs, local business owners. All right, if all kind of jobs can be done by foreigners as well, it might be a little bit hard for the locals to do those jobs as well. So basically, the government, what is done, they just chosen a few departments, kind of like 8 to 10, few small business, and they specifically say this cannot be done by foreigners. So if foreigners are coming here, you can do something else, but this one, we are leaving it to the local Tanzanians. And yesterday I came here and I share my perspective that I don't oppose that decision, to be honest, because I think every government, it has they have how can I say, they have a responsibility to protect their citizen. They have the responsibility to help their local citizen to actually grow. And I do not go against with what I'm standing for about One Africa. I believe in One Africa, and I want Africa to be there, and I want African countries to actually mingling with one another, doing business and everything. But also I believe in protecting their citizen. And I said this yesterday that if you create a good and a better environment for the locals to do business, I believe foreigners will do business as well. I believe they'll have a conducive environment to do as well. If you protect your people, you can also protect the people as well. Big problem that we have in Africa most of the time is that we do not care of our people, but we care about somebody else. But this move, it shows how much I mean, the locals and the people, they're supposed to be cared for. And I don't think it's a bad move. I really don't think it's a bad move. If the same thing will be done by Kenya or by Uganda or by South Africa or by Nigeria, I will still support that, because I think it is very important to lift up the lives of the locals, right? And to do everything you can to protect them. And I gave an example of what Donald Trump is doing. He's saying, make America great again, right? And he's focusing on really a lot of policies. He came up with a lot of policies that they're really undermining our sovereignty. They really, you know, even yesterday I shared news about, you know, Nigeria and how you know, the change of visa from 2 years to 3 months is really affecting Nigerians, and everybody is talking about that. And then I said, you know, in the eyes of America, it's not a bad thing. I mean, they're doing that decision for their own people. So I believe in One Africa, but also I believe that each and every single country in Africa is supposed to be strong economically. It's supposed to boost the economy of their people. It's supposed to protect their citizen, you know, in order for us to have the strong union of Africa that we deserve and desperately want. So I've seen a video today. I think yesterday, the President Museveni, he had a visit to Kenya, and they signed a lot of business deals. I think 7 to 9, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, the president of Uganda, he has criticized that move by Tanzania, and also president of Kenya as well criticized, because we've always been trying to promote this community and union. But I gotta be honest with this. I think I will understand if the president of Uganda criticized, but I wouldn't understand if the president of Kenya would say the same thing, because Kenya has been making a lot of snake moves in so many ways. All right, in so many ways. You can talk about the EU deal, all right, that happened a couple months ago. You know, East Africa decided to actually withdraw themselves and say, we're not going to do this, we're not going to agree on this. But Kenya went behind the back and also made, but they made that deal happen, you know, behind the backs of East Africa, because they decided together, we're not going to do this, but they went behind the back and did it. So I do not understand why Kenya will not be pleased with this. I mean, specifically government, because they do those snake moves all the time. But I will understand about the people, because I've seen the people, Kenyan people, are really condemning this decision, because they say, you know, in Kenya, we don't have jobs. I mean, employments are not here. Our government is not really working for us. We don't have any place to go. You know, if we go to Tanzania and we do job, I mean, it should be open for us to do job. Yes. And it's true. But for now, in Tanzania, I think the policies have been changed. You can actually do business. It's not like you cannot do. You can do business. I gotta be clear, guys. You can come to Tanzania as a foreigner and do business, but there's just few certain jobs you cannot do. And one of them is money transfer. You know, you can talk about M-Pesa, you can talk about YesPesa and YesMix and everything. You know, one of them is, you know, low level of mining. All right. You cannot do that. You can do supermarkets. You can open, you know, we have some Kenyan supermarkets here. You can actually do that. You can do all other kind of business, but there's these certain small businesses that you cannot do in Tanzania. For example, radio and television. You cannot start that business and do it, right? And some other I mentioned yesterday. So if you really want to know, and you want to come maybe Tanzania to do business and you don't know what to do, make sure you check that list. We posted on Swahili Nation Network Instagram, but also I shared the video with you guys here yesterday. So I think we'll be going very extreme if we talk about, okay, this is about the community. Why are you guys stopping us from doing all this kind of business? But there has to be something like that, unless if we have that one Africa we want right now. If we have that one Africa, then you know what? All of us, you know, you can go anywhere in this country. You can go anywhere in Kenya, in Uganda, whatever, in South Africa to do whatever that you want to do. It is okay. You can do that. But I think every single country is supposed to have a certain level of protection to their citizens. You know what I'm saying? Because you cannot, I don't know, it's, even when we talk about open borders, even when we talk about visa-less country, that we should not have visa, it doesn't mean that you can just stand up and just go to that country and just enter. You don't have any reason. What are you going to do there? All right. If you're going to do tourism, that's okay. You know, because when we talk about borderless Africa, when we talk about free visa Africa, we're not being reckless. We thought about this and we know that it can actually work. But still, you're going to go, you're going to need to go through immigration there. You're going to need to be asked, okay, for how long are you going to be here? They're going to put a stamp on your passport or whatever ID that you have. And you're going to need to, to follow the rules and regulation of that particular place. So for this, for me, I'll be okay. Even if Kenya and Uganda also respond to this, that, okay, you guys, you can also not do this to us. You know, there's certain kind of jobs you guys can do. I think it's good. It should not be a competition. It should not be a war. It should not be another tension rising between East African. Why? Because Tanzania is trying to protect their local, you know, workers. And I'll tell you the truth, guys, to be honest, in Tanzania, there's so many Kenyans who are doing business in Tanzania compared to Tanzanians who are doing business in Kenya. Because Kenya, they've always been doing business and they're doing pretty well in the eastern side of Africa. So they are working a long time ago and they've been doing this for many years, right? So I believe that it's going to hurt Kenya somehow because there's a lot of them doing business here. But I think also government is trying, because the job of the government of Tanzania is to work for the people of Tanzania, right? And it's trying to protect their job opportunities by doing that. There's not being violence happening in Tanzania, not like the same thing, not like, you know, this is not some sort of xenophobia. No, it has not been happened. It will never happen, because I know this kind of society and, you know, what kind of people Tanzanian people are. So I think it's a good move for Tanzanians. And every government has responsibility to protect their people. And once again, this is not meant to discourage people to come and do business. No, you know, there still can be a conducive environment for foreigners to come and to do business. It's not meant to discourage anyone, all right? But it's just meant to protect some local businesses for the local people, and there's nothing bad with that. I don't see anything bad with that, and I think you should not see anything bad with that. But we can agree to disagree. If you feel like this is a bad move for Tanzania, please let me know in the comment section. Why do you think is that? And if you think they should not be these kind of policies, we should all be open to do whatever we want to do anywhere. Also, let me know in the comment section, because this is my opinion. But I believe you could, I mean, you have an opinion as well, and I would love to hear your opinion. But also, maybe you can just check it out what President Museveni and President of Kenya said about the move of Tanzania.
How can you have the sitting room in another country, the bedroom in another country, the kitchen in another country? What sort of arrangement is this?
We are truly, truly grateful that you found time to visit us in Kenya, and the discussions I have had with you, and that you and me share common perspectives on how we should progress the relationship between the countries in the East African community.
The measures taken by Tanzania are substantive and undermine the core objective of regional economic integration under the common market and custom protocol. As to whether retaliation is one of the cards on the table, maybe the point is we can't rule it out, but I think that should really be the last thing.
We are concerned because we have no employment in this country to cater for our people. Our people are working in these countries, and we need them to continue working in these countries. We have able manpower, well-trained Kenyans, and we can't keep them at home here. They are assisting other sister countries. But with this behavior, they will all be sent at home.